Cape Cod Broadcasting weaves the listening environments of 99.9 WQRC, Ocean 104.7, WFCC Classical 107.5, Cape Country 104, and CapeCon.com's website experience to reflect the lifestyles of the people who live, work, and play on Cape Cod. We hope that you enjoy this podcast.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. I'm here in the studio with Judy Scarafile, president of the Cape Cod Baseball League, and Beth Pekoski, event director of the Seaside Le Mans from the Davenport Companies, which puts on the Seaside Le Mans every year. The race raises money for local charities, and one of the charities this year is the Cape Cod Baseball League's Scholarships for Youth Clinics. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Let's start by telling people what the Seaside Le Mans is, because although it has been going for years, some people may not know. Beth?
Yes, actually, the Seaside Le Mans is in its 14th year, and it's held every September over in Mashpee Commons. And what it is it's a 4-hour endurance race of Formula One race karts. And these karts are driven by people from local businesses who sponsor the karts and make the donations that support the organizations that are chosen each year. So it becomes quite an event. In addition to the racing, we also have kids' activities, music, and lots of other things during the day, and it's a free family event.
And it's really, I mean, people who haven't seen this, there's really nothing else like this on the Cape. I mean, it's quite an event to see these cars racing around.
It is, and it's not your typical race cars that you would see at a go-kart track. They are actually Formula One racing karts. The drivers have to wear fire suits, helmets, head socks, neck braces, everything, and they have to go through safety briefings and everything before they race.
And just to let people know, how does one view this race? Where do you go? Where do you park? How does that all work?
Luckily, Mashpee Commons has a lot of parking available there, and then you can just walk over to the track area, which is behind the Pottery Barn in that parking lot there. And we have free viewing from either the outside of the track, or we have a bridge that goes over the track, so spectators can walk over the bridge and come to the center of the infield and, visit with the different teams and see the other activities and kids' things that are happening.
A lot of fun, particularly for kids, to see this, because there's really no other opportunity around here to see something like this. And then how did this event start? Because it's really all about raising money for local charities.
Well, our company wanted to do something where we could utilize the resources and the personnel within our company, the Davenport Companies, but also encourage other businesses to get involved. So the Davenport Companies actually underwrites the cost for the entire event, and then 100% of the dollars from the sponsors or the different companies goes back to the beneficiaries each year. So it was something we wanted to do to showcase how much fun getting involved with philanthropy can be. And we've had many sponsors who've repeated year after year because they see that and they see the impact on the community. As of this year, we will have raised just over $4.5 million through sponsorships and matching funds.
An amazing amount of money, and probably one of the biggest fundraisers on Cape Cod on an annual basis. Now, I know you have a process to pick out which charities you support, and why don't you tell me about that, and then we can talk about how you picked out Cape Cod Baseball League's special youth scholarship program.
Sure. Within our company, we have a charitable giving committee, and it's made up of members from lots of our different companies within the Davenport Companies, and they go through a full vetting process. They take a look at different organizations that have mentioned their interest or that we know have a need. We have 3 areas that the organizations can fall within: health and human services, social services, and children's organizations. So oftentimes they overlap, but each year we choose anywhere between 3 and 5 organizations to receive the funds from the race that particular year.
And how did you come to choose the special program that the Cape Cod Baseball League does for youth scholarships?
Well, we were really looking at the importance of mentorship and keeping kids on the right track so that they, really stay focused and don't get involved in substance abuse, which is a huge problem here right now. And so we saw that through the Cape Cod Baseball League, the leaders that the kids really look up to those baseball players, and when they see how hard they have to work, and they can see that it's showcased to them. And I think for a lot of kids who don't have the opportunity to do that, it's something that they should get a chance to participate in.
And then we should talk about, Judy, just for the very few people who might not know what the Cape Cod Baseball League is, let's explain that first.
It is hard to put in just a few words, but the Cape Cod Baseball League is the number one collegiate summer league in the country, and players come from all over the United States. Good baseball programs, Division I and Division II and III. The top players in the country are here, and they're here for 9 weeks. They play a very intense schedule, and it's really a stepping stone for professional baseball. At this point in time, we have approximately 250 players from the Cape League who are currently playing in Major League Baseball.
And a big part of the Cape League, you see the families turning out to the games and the young people really looking up to the players. And at what point did you decide to start doing clinics, or has that always been a part of the Cape League?
Well, actually, the clinics, if I remember right, it was the mid-'70s. The clinics came about, and I think it was an idea coming out of the Cotuit organization. And it was an idea that just blossomed into, why don't we have a clinic or camp for children in the town or visiting, and we'll teach them about baseball, and we'll have our players be the instructors. And then, because we like to share it with other organizations and other teams, the idea was floated and very, very quickly picked up by all the teams. So now all 10 franchises, all 10 teams put on clinics Monday through Friday, 9 to 12 during the season, and with great attendance.
And the kids must love this. Now, what ages of kids can participate, and how do they sign up?
Children are as young as 6, and it depends on if a particular team is offering an older like a teenage program, or I've seen kids as old as like 13 and 14. It really depends, but that's really the age range. You can sign up on our website and on a team website. Of course, the clinics are over now that the season is over, but they start the 3rd week in June and run through the end of July. And usually the last day of a clinic, there's a slip and slide party, which has become even more famous now with ice buckets. But these kids have invented sliding on ice cubes long before that started.
So lots of fun things going on with the clinic, but I guess the main focus is teaching baseball skills. Is that right?
It is the main focus, and also having fun. We have children who haven't been exposed to baseball before, so we have some, extra equipment that they can use. And it's, sometimes it's startling to see 6-year-olds who don't know how to play catch when you assume everyone can catch a ball. But the beauty of this grant from the Seaside Le Mans, which has been just tremendous for us, it helped to underwrite the cost of children coming in and having their campship sponsored. And what we also did was we matched that. So if an organization like Harwich had 10 children coming in with a scholarship, then Harwich matched that with 10 more children coming in. So 20 kids got to be in the clinic, 20 kids whose families couldn't otherwise afford it.
Now, the clinics, I think they have a moderate cost. And is that for the several weeks, or how long does the clinic last?
The clinics run $85 to $125. Most of them are right around $100. The clinics are Monday through Friday, so it's 5 days. And you can sign up for multiple weeks. Some families who are here for the whole summer put their kids in. It's like a camp for an entire summer.
And so at some point, as you were running these clinics, you decided it would be great to supplement the clinics by having these scholarships so that anyone could participate. How did that come about?
The scholarships began, I'd say, probably 5 or 10 years ago. And then I think when the Davenport companies realized that we did have some scholarships available, that is something that they could come in and help us enlarge and support. With their support, we've been able to really expand it and bring in more children. So each one of our 10 organizations has reached out to the schools, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Boys and Girls Club, agencies, social service, and trying to find children, identify those children who would like to come to the clinics but who just didn't have the wherewithal.
It comes to be very much a community effort, it sounds like. I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. We're talking about these scholarships for youth clinics that the Cape Cod Baseball League runs in the summer and that the Seaside Le Mans is supporting as one of the several charities it is supporting with its event this year. What percentage of students get scholarships? And, for instance, this past summer, how many students were able to use a scholarship to go to these youth clinics?
I've just been tallying the figures over the weekend because everybody, as the season ended, was just kind of needed a few days to sort of relax and chill out. So I've been gathering the data, and we can say, at least in tentative numbers right now, that we had 168 children in our 10 clinics from scholarships. So that's partly Seaside Le Mans and then the matching. So I say partly Seaside Le Mans. It's really all Seaside Le Mans, and their philosophy has helped us to reach out to those kids and then match them on our own.
And that now, how many kids overall are in the youth in the program, or how many kids can each clinic support? Of course, as you said, some kids go every week, and some kids might just go 1 week, and some kids might go all throughout the summer. But for each individual session, perhaps, how many kids typically are at a session of a clinic?
I think an average session would be between 15 and 25 children. And at times, I know when Cotuit has had an enormous number of kids sign up in the past, they've actually had 2 locations for their clinics. So the numbers vary. I think when all is said and done by the end of the summer, it's clearly over 1,000 children, probably 1,500 when you add all 10 teams together.
That's amazing. So probably one of the biggest summer camps in essence on Cape Cod, having all those kids participating. And it's boys and girls, is that right?
Boys and girls, yes. We made the breakthrough about 20 years ago. And I remember when that happened, the teams were just kind of in a tizzy about what are we going to do? We've had a girl apply. I said, well, I mean, actually, what are you going to do? You should just bring the girl into the clinic. And actually, if you're the first girl in a clinic or one or 2 girls in a clinic, it's not all that easy because you're playing with, I mean, you don't have the adult mentality of open your arms and accept everyone. You're dealing with 8-year-old boys who might not really understand that accepting a girl is the right thing.
And now that we've all watched Monet and on the cover of Sports Illustrated, we all know that girls can play baseball too. But the players, I guess the main thing that people should realize is how accessible these players are after their nightly games, and you have these children there, and they're looking up to the players. And so obviously the clinic is an extension of this. As we said at the beginning, they're really role models for the kids.
They are role models, and the clinics provide great mentoring. And I think Beth, said it succinctly that, we're trying to reach the youth now so we prevent problems later on in life. We have a substance abuse problem on Cape Cod, in New England, and across the country. And if we can reach out to children and show them what fun and what great opportunities you have getting involved in sports and just being outside in fresh air and getting away from your iPad and television, it's win-win. So. And then, of course, it's an extension. The kids are in the clinics in the morning. Then they want to bring their parents back to the games in the evening, and they hang out and see their, favorite player afterwards and introduce the parents. This is my teacher in camp, and it's a wonderful thing to watch.
Now, do the clinics fill up? In other words, do people have to sign up early for them, or how does that all work?
I haven't heard of any child being turned away, but honestly, certain specific weeks in the clinic might fill up. I haven't been in touch with every team about every single week, but I'd say if you can register ahead of time, it's better if you know in advance. But I've also heard of people just deciding the weekend before and showing up Monday morning and asking if they could get into the clinic.
And these players, this is just another way they are so integrated into the community here, where they stay at people's homes, and often they come back and they visit these people and keep in touch with them by letter and phone for many years. Talk about that, how integrated these players are into the Cape Cod community.
the players really become a part of their host family's family. I just watched a video that was shown on MLB.com last week, and it interviewed one of the families in Chatham, and Sherry referred to adopting the two boys as her sons for the summer, and she said, we're your summer parents. And they're not only involved in the family, but they really do become an active part in the community. This one player from Chatham said he could walk down Main Street in Chatham, and that's all he would hear is people talking about the games, which is, that might not happen in every town, but it's a pretty neat thing. They really are an integral part of the community.
And so many people go to these games, and you and I were talking, I think, just at one of the final games this season about how many people you get every year going to these games. And I think you said 300,000. Is that right?
Yeah, we've been around 300,000. This year, I'm still waiting for a few more pieces of data. I think we're going to be between 280 and 300,000. We're just looking for those final numbers.
It's such a big part of a Cape Cod summer. And Beth, in the minute or so we have left, some final words about Seaside Le Mans, a huge event on Cape Cod.
Thanks. Actually, I want to first of all say thank you to all the sponsors that are involved. They're really generous companies here on the Cape and some off Cape that take part in this. And we want to encourage everyone to come out and see it. Saturday, September 6th. And the opening ceremony is at 11:30. Congressman Keating is the Grand Marshal, so he'll be kicking it off, and we've got some live music. And then the race itself is continuous from noon to 4. And in addition to the race and the kids' activities and the music, there are all the shops and restaurants at Mashpee Commons to visit. So we encourage everyone to come. If they have any questions, we have a Facebook page for Seaside Le Mans, and we also have a website at seasidelemans.org.
It's a really great time. Unfortunately, we're out of time here today. Thank you, ladies, for coming.
Thank you.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal.
This podcast is a presentation of Cape Cod Broadcasting, which is solely responsible for its content. Thank you for listening. For more information, please visit us at capecodbroadcasting.com.